The following program on PBS 39 is made possible in part by
Excellence lives here in northeastern Indiana. It's reflected in more than 200 nationally recognized degrees. It drives our Division I sports. It's alive in our campus life. Excellence has a name, IPFW. Around our campus, around the country, around the world. Excellence lives here. Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
For nearly 60 years, Arts United has worked to bring the rich, diverse talents of our region together through support of the arts, socially, culturally, and economically. Arts United, providing a home for the arts in Northeast Indiana.
This is Arts Weekly. Arts Weekly is produced in cooperation with the College of Visual and Performing Arts at IPFW, offering degrees in fine arts, music, theater, and visual communication and design.
Welcome to Arts Weekly. I'm Melinda Haines of the IPFW College of Visual and Performing Arts. In the second half of the show, Michael Floyd and Walisha Graham will join me to talk about the Windsong Film Festival. But first, we're going to learn more about the Jesters. Sponsored by the University of St. Francis since its founding in 1978, the Jesters is a performing group comprised of people with mild to severe developmental and physical disabilities, ranging in age from 6 to seniors. Each spring, the Jesters program culminates in an original production performed by Jesters participants. I'm joined today by Director Allison Ballard and Assistant Director Diane Gaby to talk about their upcoming production of Horsetails. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Well, I'm just excited to talk about the Jesters. I've known about this organization for such a long time, being in this community. But, let's kind of start by talking about who are the Jesters. I mean, these are real people we're talking about who are part of this group. So tell me a little bit about them.
The Jesters is a performing group of people with developmental disabilities, and the group started 35 years ago, focused on children, but what happened is many of those children grew up and wanted to stay in the program, so the program slowly evolved into serving adults and teens, and actually just this year we really made an emphasis on serving children again, integrating them into the program.
So you have been at St. Francis since you began. I mean, who or what was the impetus for starting this program?
It's actually a program of the University of St. Francis, and it was started by Hal Gunderson and Bernie Solomon, who were professors at the university who had experience both in special education and in theater and music. So they joined forces and started the program. So it's always been an integral part, since its existence, it's been an integral part of the university.
So are there some outside sponsors that, are, help with the organization too?
The AWS Foundation provides funding for the program, which is very helpful. And then Knights of Columbus helps, and Action Club helps, and so there's some other groups involved, but we are definitely a program of the University of St. Francis.
And what would you say the mission of the program is? I know that you have these shows every year, but it's a little more than that.
I'd say it's more than that. It's very process-oriented.
Yeah.
The show's really just sort of a cherry at the end, but we start in September and we work weekly, and we explore movement and dance and theater and puppets and music, instrumental and voice, and different kinds of visual arts activities. That Diane leads a complete afternoon visual arts program. And so it's really a multimedia exploration of various artistic skills.
It has really evolved through the years.
Yes, it has.
Now, how long have you been the director?
5 years.
5 years. And how did you get involved?
Well, there was a job opening, and I would like to say there's a lovely story about I had a sibling with disabilities or something, but I enjoy working as an artist, and the job opportunity came up, and the fact that it was working with people with disabilities didn't daunt me. I had worked with people with disabilities, and my personal mission is that the arts need and should be available to everyone, and so the opportunity to make all of these different art forms accessible to this group of people was exciting to me, and I was really happy to have the opportunity to do the work.
Well, that's great. Now, Diane, how long have you been with Jesters?
This is my second
Your
season.
second season. And tell me what you do as assistant director.
Well, I collaborate with Allison, and we come up with things. I support her, and then I also do the art portion with the
Yeah,
Jesters.
let's talk about that. What does that involve? Because that's part of the weekly, run up to the show, isn't it?
Absolutely. For 2 hours in the afternoon, we make art, and we try to get them to bring their own expression into that art, and which is really gratifying and fun. You'll see, if you come to the show, you'll see a lot of the pieces that they've worked on. We use them on stage. We feature an artist. It's Picasso this year. And so we've made these beautiful letter boards, and they are in his collage style. And they form a word, and several words actually, and they're little pieces of art, and they're just wonderful. Each one by itself is just really fun to look at.
Well, that's a neat thing to incorporate in the show, because that's just yet another part of the people themselves who are part of it and what they've created.
They made the apples that you'll see in the apple dance.
Yeah.
And it's just really fun.
So they're kind of getting to do everything backstage and
Absolutely.
on stage and all of that. Now, how has the organization grown and changed over the years? We talked a little bit about how it's not really just a children's program anymore. Let's talk about that.
Well, when I started 5 years ago, we had 35 people, teens and adults, and this year we have 70 people. And the 70 includes 6 children. We really made a push this year to encourage children to join us. And so the program's really grown. It's doubled its participant base in the 5 years I've been involved. And I think that really speaks to, well, hopefully the quality of the work, but also to the community need and the interest in the work. And these kind of opportunities, these kind of creative opportunities being available to everyone, this population specifically. And I think that really speaks highly of the community as well as the work.
What do you think makes the Jesters so unique? There is nothing else like this in town that has been this long-standing and has been so helpful to so many people. What do you think those key things are that really make it special?
Well, the group of people, the group itself is unique, and the group changes a little bit year to year, but one unique thing about this group is everyone there just really wants to be there. They're really motivated and inspired to do this type of work. And I find that really gratifying and helpful. It creates a great environment to work within. And they are brilliant in so many ways. I swam with dolphins a couple summers ago in Hawaii, and I really equate working with this group to the experience of swimming with dolphins. Yeah. So there's perception differences and what have you, but there's this very deep intelligence that drives the group and drives the work, and I really enjoy working with that as an artist.
Diane?
If I could interject.
Yeah, please.
One of the exciting things that I think that Allison brings to the program, because I've been aware of the program since its inception, is although their roots are in dramatic theater, Allison brings post-dramatic theater and nonlinear structure.
And you better tell us what that means.
It's not like passing out a script and saying, here, everybody gets to memorize these lines and let's get busy on it. It's obviously we have a really good idea of what we want to accomplish that year. But then we bring a loose idea, a loose formation, and we let the Jesters bring to the table what they want to bring, and that way they own the show. They're invested in it, they're confident in it, and then we give them the tools that they need to be successful in presenting that show, and it's just really exciting to see them take the stage these days, because they do.
And they're going to take the stage with Horsetails. Let's talk a little bit about this. I mean, how did that come to be? What's the story?
Well, I always have to have a theme that I'm invested in on some level. If I'm not interested, it's going to just be a year of just not very fun work. So I was taking horseback riding lessons for the first time as an adult a couple years ago, and became intrigued with the personalities of the horses I was working with. And so we decided to have the show set in a stable, telling the different stories of horses. And then Diane had the idea of they were gathering for a fox hunt, and so then we had foxes and dogs involved, and then we chose to use different pieces of literature to have the different horse stories based on. So we're using the book Black Beauty and Misty of Chincoteague and Seabiscuit And then Call of the Wild, one of the dog stories is based on Call of the Wild. So they're at this stable, they're all getting to know each other, and they're telling their life stories that are then portrayed theatrically through music, dance, theater, and puppets. And then they wrote their own story, and Diane actually helped them with that. They wrote their own story about a circus horse.
Oh, and so they all decided that this needed to be part of the show.
Yeah, we talk about perspective, especially because Picasso's our artist. And so, okay, let's think about the perspective of the horse, and what other kind of horses can we think of? And so we brought all those things out, and then we decided, how about a circus horse? Okay, well, what would be in this scene? And it just went from there. You can imagine, and it's really fun.
Oh, that's great.
So, yeah.
And some of the people who are involved have been involved like since the beginning, haven't they?
Well, I mean, I wasn't there at the beginning, so I don't know for sure, but I know some of them been involved for 20 plus years. Wow. Yes, absolutely. And that just speaks to their love of the work. Yeah. And they work hard. We work them hard. We work hard. It's hard work.
Yeah, and that's a long schedule. I mean, if you start on something like in September and every week you're doing,
we work 4 hours a week.
Yeah.
And everyone leaves exhausted, but it's a really good exhaustion.
Besides the outreach program, which is
tell me about the outreach program.
Well, I really wanted to build our capacity and reach people who maybe couldn't get to us on Saturday mornings. So we started, Diane and I go once a week to Easter Seals Ark of Northeast Indiana, and we work with their consumers. And this year we're working with about 20 people. And Easter Seals Ark received a Big Read grant from the National Endowment of the Arts and Arts Midwest to do various grant activities evolved around the book Call of the Wild, and including one of those grant activities is a multimedia performance. And so we have worked with the people at Easter Seals Ark to create a performance piece about Call of the Wild, and we will be touring that in the community at 5 different venues this spring. Excellent. And the real exciting thing is those performers are paid for that work.
Wow,
they get paid for each of those performers.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
That's great. Now, where can we get information about not only that presentation but Horse Tales this weekend?
Horse Tales tickets are available through the University of St. Francis. Okay. The show is March 8th and 9th. Saturday and Sunday, and it's at the North Campus building on Spring Street. Tickets are $10. Okay. On Saturday it starts at 6, and on Sunday it starts at 3.
Okay, well, great. Well, thank you both so much for being here. It sounds like it's going to be a wonderful presentation.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. After this short break, we'll hear more about the Windsong Film Festival, so please take this minute to view our performance calendar of what's coming up in our area. We'll be right back with Michael Floyd and Walisha Graham. On the weekend of March 15th and 16th, Windsong Pictures presents the 15th Annual Windsong Film Festival, which will be taking place at the IPFW campus in Neff Hall. This family-friendly event takes place over 2 days and features films, dance, screen tests, and a movie workshop. Here to tell us all about this event are Michael Floyd and Walisha Graham. Welcome to Arts Weekly.
Well, thanks. It's great to be here.
You know, this is such an exciting thing to know that there's a film festival, an international film festival that goes on right
here. There are about 2,000 some film festivals in the world, and here we are, Portland, Indiana.
You know, but before the film festival was Windsong Pictures. I want to talk just a little bit about the history of Windsong Pictures, what it is, and why it was started.
Why? Oh my gosh. Started 39 years ago.
Wow.
And I was in Rogers City, Michigan at that time. I brought my Michigan map with me.
Oh, always carry it.
Right there. And The student and I, we always talked about doing movies, and we had done things together for 4 years, and by the time he was a senior, we made our first motion picture. We used the football camera, which is a black and white 8mm film. Didn't have audio. We used a reel-to-reel tape recorder. Had to keep your finger on the reel-to-reel to keep up with the barometric pressure, so the time and sync, with the, so that's how we got started. Whole town came out to see it for 25 cents a pop. We bought some equipment, and here we are, 39 years later. And
you've come some distance from that football field.
Right.
So I think you've been the driving force all along, behind Windsong Pictures.
The madness. The madness. That's it.
And so what's your goal now? What are you trying to do, in 2014?
We've had one consistent goal since we began this whole thing. It's to reach out, touch others, and make a difference. Behind the camera, on the silver screen, all the places we go, all the workshops we do, all the service things that we do throughout this community and other communities, that's the same thing.
Yeah. That's great. Well, and I think you had even done a collaboration with our previous guest, the Jesters.
Right, yes. One of my degrees happens to be from St. Francis, and so I knew Hella Gunderson quite well. And so we've been involved with the Jesters in one way or another for a number of years.
So who can take part in Windsong Pictures? I mean, how does somebody get involved?
Anybody can take part, absolutely anybody. I think this year our youngest cast member was 3 years of age.
Oh my goodness.
And our oldest was 85. Yeah. I think the oldest person ever in a Windsong film was about 93. We'd like to have somebody 103 out there. Come on down, we're going to put you in the movies.
So, and Walisha, tell me about, how long have you been involved with Windsong? This is pretty new for you, isn't it?
Yes, I've been involved with Windsong for about the past 2 years.
And how did you get involved?
It began with Michael as my English teacher, and I started volunteering. He brought up these volunteer experiences through his company, Windsong Pictures. Yeah. And then as time went on, we began filming, and now I'm here.
And now you're here. So what is it that makes you like being a part of Windsong?
The family atmosphere. I love the family atmosphere that the Windsong brings.
And I'm guessing that these activities keep you pretty busy, but what do you do outside of Windsong?
Yeah, outside of Windsong, I go to Ivy Tech for nursing. Well, I'm applying to the nursing program. This is my first year. And I also work as a CNA at Woodview.
So you are a very, very busy person.
Yeah.
So the film festival coming up, 15th annual, it's just adding right up there. What's going on this year with that?
Well, we have a variety of different films. One is Pirates in Paradise, which is a swashbuckling film set in 1692 when Calico Jack Rackham and Annie Bonny tried to come into San Augustine, Florida, and find gold and silver. They don't find any, so they kidnap the daughter of the governor, who's Diego de Lozada. And then there's a sea voyage. They're chasing each other around the Caribbean until they finally end up in the island of Cordova. You got all that?
Yes, but I want to go back to swashbuckler. Where do we come to from that word? What is that?
Linguistics.
Yeah.
How were these words born? A lot of misconceptions about piratical terms, and we really delved into those a great deal. But swashbuckler, imagine a sea and the swashing of the sea. And pirates always wore big belts with buckles because that's where they keep their cutlass and their dagger and their pistol. So swashbuckler.
Okay, that's really where it came from.
That's where it came from. And so what kind of film is it? It's a swashbuckler.
Okay, that's a pretty good explanation. Now, how did you decide to come up with this? Was this an idea of yours or collaboration?
No, actually, we do these things in collaboration, and it was quite some time ago that this film first came out, and it's been remastered, and there have been some new additions to it because Walisha is in this film also. Oh. She's a slave woman, taken by the pirates, and they kind of do a little twist and turn the tide on the pirates. But everything we do is collaboration. Sit around, kick around ideas, and this is how we come up. And when we first did our first pirate film, I was the devil's advocate, so to speak, because I said, you got to have a ship, and it's tough to get a ship down the Maumee River. It doesn't have quite the same effect as Mutiny on the Bounty or something like that. So we had ships. We had ships down in Florida. We had ships out on the Great Lakes. It's real ships.
You really went to these places and filmed there. Wow, that's really cool.
We've actually filmed in every state in the country, including Alaska twice.
That's exciting. Now, so that's one of the films that you're featuring. What's the other one?
We have some shorts. One is Jonathan Livingston Seagull, which is just the cutest thing, because it's the dance to Jonathan Livingston Seagull, and they're all kids. There's about 15 kids involved in this thing. And it's really, really beautiful. It's really, really neat as they tell this story. And of course, it's a redemptive theme, if you're familiar with that book,
Right.
Jonathan Livingston Seagull. So that's really cool. The other part of the shorts is a thing called Magic Books. We actually got the idea from the Allen County Public Library.
Okay.
And in the summer, they had these books that were in paper bags, and you don't know what's inside. It might say boy or girl or mystery, and you check it out and you open it up and find out what it is.
Okay.
So that's what these
Great.
kids do. The first group gets their book, they open it up, and it's Alice in Wonderland. So they start to read it, and zap, they're back in
Oh,
Wonderland.
they're in the story.
With the queen, you know,
great.
off with your head, off with your head. So there's the wicked queen in that one. And then the next group goes off, and their book is from Grimm Fairy Tales, Little Snow White. They open it up, and boom, they're in the magic land with Little Snow White and the dwarves. And of course, there's the nasty queen there.
Right.
So we tie that together. And the third book is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And so they go into beyond the wardrobe, as we call it. And again, there is the wicked queen of Narnia that they're dealing
Is that
with.
the same queen?
No,
Oh,
different queens each time. Just have the same mantra, you know, evil.
Yeah. Well, those sound like a lot of fun.
They are a lot of fun.
Hey, you've got a feature-length film that
Yes.
you're featuring too, Street Symphony. Tell me about Street Symphony.
Street Symphony is really an exciting film. It was 2 years in production.
Wow.
Alicia is an extraordinary member of that cast, and she was also part of the writing and all that sort of thing. And we filmed a lot of things here in Fort Wayne. We filmed some places else as well. And in this, there's some clips kind of running in the background right now where we're shooting up in the Mackinac area. This is about a group of dancers that are vying for the national championship of the United States of America. And they're a very diversified group, and they all come from the hood. They have all the strikes against them. I mean, they don't have the advantages of lessons. They can't afford the costumes and all this kind of stuff that other people have. So they've got a big hill to overcome.
Yeah.
And then Nikaruka, who happens to be Walisha, happens to know this guy who's going to be their coach. You want to talk about their coach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Our coach is Alvin Ailey, the famous dance instructor.
Oh, excellent.
And I knew him from my church, so I convinced him to come on over and help the Street Symphony out. So as we battle all these hurdles, trying to make it to the National Dance Championship.
And at first, Alvin does, no, I don't think I want to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, they are green. I just don't even think I want to mess with this.
Yeah. So it took a lot of persuasion to get Alvin to finally come around.
It sounds like a really fabulous story.
Part of it, too, is that there's a dance historian. And so we deal with elements of poverty and how the arts help people overcome situations of poverty to be able to explore and advance academically and make, as Alvin Ailey did.
Yeah.
And then we also talk about Marina Tall Chief, Janet Collins, and other people have overcome hardships as well through the arts. And we
very
actually have
encouraging.
historical footage of all these people.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Now, Walisha, this was the first time that you were ever in a movie, right?
Yes,
And how was that? You know, the first time to be on that side of the camera?
It was quite nerve-wracking at first,
Yeah.
you know, having a camera in front of your face. You're like, oh my gosh, you know, how do I look? Am I speaking loud enough? It was quite nerve-wracking, but after a while, you get used to it, and I don't know, it became fun and
Yeah.
interesting, a new adventure.
Oh, that's great. And then now you've also learned to do film editing, correct?
Correct.
So you're editing this film or did edit it?
Yes.
Oh, that's a great
Yeah.
experience to learn. And now, am I understanding correctly, this is the first film you did in HD?
The first film in HD, yes.
So were those some new challenges, learning different technology?
Challenge is certainly the right word. There were a lot of adjustments that we had to make, and I admit that the biggest mistake I made was doing a full feature-length film in HD first. We should have tried a short first and worked through some wrinkles, but the film is fantastic. It's really, really a powerful, powerful film. All of our films really embrace the human spirit, and you just come out of this thing feeling like one big warm fuzzy because you're really excited. And everybody in that audience is going to love the Street Symphony people because you learn all the hardships that they went through and all the difficulties and challenges that they had to face.
It's so nice that you incorporate so many different people of different ages, different backgrounds in Windsong Pictures and in this movie. You know, what would you say to anybody who might be interested in getting involved in Windsong? You know, how do they do that?
You know, I personally feel extraordinarily blessed.
Yeah.
Because we've had an opportunity over 39 years to work with 70 35,000 students.
Wow.
And 35,000 adults. And the neat thing about working with the adults, we have a person like Martin Tierney, who's a very, very gifted, tremendous actor, tremendous writer. And to be able to work in a scene with Martin, oh wow, you know, you just really gain so much from that. So
anybody
can get involved. Anybody can get involved, really.
And the festival itself, it's going to take place the March 15th and 16th?
15th and 16th.
And for information, people can go to?
They can go to what's on the screen right now. Windsongpictures.com is the website.
Great. Well, thank you both so much
Thanks
for being
so much
here.
for having us.
I'm Melinda Haines of the IPFW College of Visual and Performing Arts. Nationally, PBS is America's largest stage for the performing arts. Locally, PBS 39 connects you to our region's arts and events here on Arts Weekly. All this is possible because of the lead role you play through your financial support of this station. Make your best donation to PBS 39 today. Go online to WFWA.org or call 866-969-2721. Thanks to you and your gifts, PBS 39 is your ticket to inspiration and great arts. Please join host John O'Connell next time on Arts Weekly when he'll visit with Brad and Leslie Beauchamp about Willy Wonka, a collaboration between the University of St. Francis and Fort Wayne Youth Theater. Then Dr. Ravi Raju and Dr. Vijay Chilakamari share details about the IPFW Shruti Indian Performance Series featuring Amjad Ali Khan, Master of the Sarad, in a concert taking place March 22nd. For up-to-the-minute arts updates, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and be sure to join us here live Thursday evenings at 7:30 on PBS 39. Thanks for watching Arts Weekly.
The preceding program on PBS 39 was made possible in part by
Excellence lives here in northeastern Indiana. It's reflected in more than 200 nationally recognized degrees. It drives our Division I sports. It's alive in our campus life. Excellence has a name, IPFW. Around our campus, around the country, around the world. Excellence lives here. Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
For nearly 60 years, Arts United has worked to bring the rich, diverse talents of our region together through support of the arts, socially, culturally, and economically. Arts United, providing a home for the arts in Northeast Indiana.